everyone, it's Liz here. I'm coming to you today. You may notice I look the same as the last few videos. I'm having to batch do videos because last week with the heat here in the UK was crazy. I could not manage any videos. It got up to 39 degrees here, so that's like 104, 103, something like that in Fahrenheit. But anyway, as some of you may know, I volunteer for EDS Support UK, and I run the Cambridge group. Well, it's St Neots, but it's the only one in Cambridgeshire. I haven't managed to do any meetings for nearly a year now because of just my terrible health in the last year or so. But we have some really exciting news. You may have seen, if you are a member of EDS UK, you should have hopefully seen this already. But basically, EDS UK does a lot of behind the scenes work in awareness and research, fundraising and things like that. And currently Professor Riz, who's the neurogastro doctor, who is like amazing to see if you have gastro issues and you haven't got a gastro doctor. I pay to see him privately. He's very expensive, but it's worth it if you want treatment to work quickly. He also is one of the medical advisors for EDS UK. And they are currently running a EDS UK funding a nurse to work with Professor Riz and look at diet in relation to POTS and EDS. So that's going on. But they have just announced that there is going to be a specialist EDS nurse, which is the first in the UK. And in fact, it's the first specialist nurse in the entire world, as far as I know. Maybe America has them, but I certainly know Europe and Asia and Australia and all that kind of countries or continents don't have a specialist nurse, let alone maybe even a doctor. So this is the press release, which I'll put up on the screen now. We are proud to announce that in partnership with the NHS, we are jointly funding the world's first EDS specialist nurse. The nurse will be part of a 4-person specialist team at UCLH, which sees approximately 600 to 700 new EDS cases a year. The care pathway for an EDS patient is extremely complex. For example, one recent patient attending the clinic at UCLH had 97 appointments over a period of 1 year and was under 7 different hospitals. All too often, people with EDS attend multiple appointments with no clear outcome because knowledge about and treatment of EDS greatly varies. Ehlers-Danlos Support UK and UCLH believe that once the EDS specialist nurse is in post and people with EDS are referred to the UCLH Hypermobility Clinic, patients will benefit from better coordinated care so that when they return to their local area, they have one specialist point of contact and move from a fragmented care pathway to a streamlined one. This will both improve the local management of people's EDS and reduce the number of hospital appointments they need. At the same time, by contributing to the understanding of the prevalence of systemic EDS symptoms and tracking the healthcare needs of these patients, the EDS nurse will be able to provide valuable input into the ongoing evolution of EDS patient care in the UK. So basically, yes, I was right, it's the world's first. But if you didn't know, UCLH is a hospital in London. The main doctor that's been there is Dr. Kaz, and she actually diagnosed me 10 years ago, or 10.5 years ago now. And it's a brilliant hospital. It's a big hospital as well, and usually there are, if you live in London, all the specialists you need you could possibly see there. That's not the case for me. Even when I lived in London, I saw my EDS specialist was at UCLH. I saw my POT specialist first at St Mary's and then at Queen Square, which is NHNN. I had physio at UCLH. They have a very good physio there who knows about EDS and is very good. And I had a few other specialists at UCLH. I had an endocrinologist, and I've also had my gallbladder removed there randomly, even though I wasn't living in London. It's the only hospital that agreed to do it because my EDS was like too dangerous, apparently, even though it's successfully removed very well. I now have, like it mentions, a very somebody had 97 appointments in 1 year. That's probably sounds like me. In 7 different hospitals. My EDS specialist now is actually at Stanmore. My POTS is split between King's and Queen Square because I have a cardiologist and a neurologist. I have a dermatologist at my local hospital in Addenbrooke's. I also have physio at my other local hospital, Hinchinbrook. I have urogynae at Hinchinbrook. I have like chest clinic and breathing physio at Papworth, the Royal Papworth, a new one. I have what's they called, orthotics, which is like your braces and your supports and your stuff. That's also at my local hospital, Hinchinbrook. And Sjogren's is supposed to be at Addenbrooke's, but I really don't see it being there. As you may have seen from my last video, click up there. And what else? I have eye clinics, so my eyes are always tested because EDS has really affected my eyes a lot. I went from not needing glasses to wearing them permanently, and every year my prescription gets stronger. So, and I have photosensitivity as well. So eyes, I'm just like working from the head down really. Maxillofacials at Addenbrooke's because I have TMJ, a lot of issues with that. Gastro is at Addenbrooke's, which is terrible as well. Yeah, I think that's about it. Can't think of any others. But this is amazing. This is a world first to have a specialist nurse because they have the specialist nurse at Queen Square for POTS. So if in between appointments you need advice, you're supposed to be able to call and speak to one of the nurses who's very knowledgeable, but it saves you having to A, go all the way to the hospital if you're not well enough, and B, it saves wasting appointment times and just makes it more efficient. But I've not used that service for a while, so I don't actually know if it still runs or if it's helpful. It used to be very good, I have to say. I'm just reading more about this, and it actually does say more about it on the EDS website, which is www.alias-danlos.org. There are questions. The nurse has already been fully funded through EDS UK and the NHS, so they don't need any funds for that particular role. But it says that we see EDS specialist nurses as the future. So if you do want to donate, then you can go to the EDS website and follow the links. The questions people have are, how is it being funded? Or I've just answered that. Where will they be based? I've already answered that. It's UCLH in London, University College London Hospital, basically. It's the rheumatology department. What role will the nurse play in the care of patients? The nurse will coordinate the multidisciplinary care of patients who attend the hypermobility service at UCLH, both while they are in the service and when they turn to their local community. There will also be a specialist point of contact for a patient's local healthcare team. So like your GPs and physios and stuff, if they have questions, they can call this nurse. She's going to be so busy. It says people with EDS often have lots of different hospital appointments. That's me. For a wide range of symptoms, sometimes without finding what is wrong with them. This approach should improve the local management of people's EDS and reduce the number of hospital appointments needed. Now, it says, how do I see the nurse? This is like what a lot of people want to know. The nurse will be available for all patients who are referred to the NHS hypermobility service. Patients located outside the hospital catchment area can use the service but must be referred by their local rheumatologist. Patients within the catchment area can be referred by their GP. So people like me outside, basically I'd need like Stanmore to refer me. I wouldn't get Addenbrooke's because they're rubbish. But I know a lot of people with EDS, the problem they have is that their rheumatologist doesn't believe they have EDS and is not helpful. So if you were to go to your unhelpful rheumatologist and say, please can you refer me to this clinic in London, they would probably say no, because they probably would be like, well, you're questioning my expertise, or they might think that you don't want to be in their clinic anymore, which is true, but you don't want to say it like to their face. They also might be unwilling to help you, so it's a tricky one. I think it's not as straightforward as it seems. So that's my view on that. And the last question is, when will the nurse be appointed? And it says it's being recruited and hopefully will be filled within the next few months. So they've got there's not actual nurse ready, but they funded the role. So there you go. So that is exciting news. I'm just seeing if there's any more comments, because obviously there's lots of questions about this. Let's see. Most people are just saying how great UCLH is. There is a lot of questions. So one person says that her rheumatologist referred her, and they sent the referral to Sheffield, who refused, as she already has an HEDS diagnosis, even though her rheumatologist advised she had CEDS symptoms and needs management. Any advice? Basically, any advice, go to the helpline. It's the same website, www.ehlers-danlos.org/support/helpline. And most questions can be answered there, really. People are asking about if children can go. Nobody's really answered that, but I've got a feeling the answer is no. This is another issue. Something else that I think should be next on the list to be funded, actually, from my point of view, because there is no children's service on the NHS currently for EDS in the UK. The only way around that is if you, as an adult, have been diagnosed with EDS and you've got kids who you suspect have EDS, then if you go through the genetics route, usually most geneticists don't have a rule about not seeing kids, as far as I'm aware. I could be wrong, don't quote me on that. But otherwise it's just private clinics. The one is, as I'm aware of, is the clinic in Harley Street that Professor Graham set up. I know that he doesn't actually see patients anymore, I don't think, but Dr. Sugar, I think it's Sugdar, she sees children, but again, it's expensive and there's no guarantees, because a lot of people who go to private clinics find they have all the answers and get told all the medications, and then when the letter goes to their GP just refuses to read the letter or prescribe or do anything that the private clinic has said. So it's a tricky one, but persevere if you can, because you will get there in the end. I mean, I was really lucky because I didn't even know I had EDS. I was diagnosed with POTS first by a really good POTS doctor privately, and he actually pointed out that he thought I had EDS and referred me within the NHS to see Professor Graham's team. But that was like 10.5 years ago, like I say, so, or longer, because I got POTS diagnosed the year before, so. But there we go, that's very good news. World first. You've heard it here. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.